Morning, everyone. Welcome to technically day 4. I'm going to talk about stuff that I would have discussed yesterday, but I have my son all day, and then the election, and all of the stress is still happening. Yay! Said nobody ever. I love politics. I was a former elected official. I was a councilman in my town. It is something that has interested me for like 20 years, going back to high school even. And it's something that I do want to get back into, at some point. I always say when I have time, I don't know that there's ever going to be a moment where I have time. At this point, I think it's just going to be one of those things that I have to make time for. It comes from a sense of civic duty. I love helping people. That's why I do the show. That's why I have the podcast. And I feel like elected office is one of those things that, would give me a platform to really help people and listen to them, listen to their problems, listen to their concerns, and then offer potential solutions for thousands, if not millions of people. And I know you don't necessarily have to hold elective office to be influential in politics. There's policy, there's this, that, and the other, and I understand that. And I'm not saying I won't do that either. But it's just one of those things that, like I said, has always intrigued me. It feeds the ego a little bit, won't lie. Knowing that they're voting for me, that they're supporting me, like I'll be the first to admit that that's definitely a consideration. But also having said that, I, because it is about me, but it's not about me. It's one of those weird things. All of this to say, I love politics. But this election, I am so stressed, y'all. I was up till like 11:30 last night, Eastern, and watching the returns come in and following along with the numbers and the patterns and this and the that and the data, and how this election wasn't a complete and utter pushback on the last 4 years of this administration is disheartening. I was hoping, by the way, as of recording right now, there's still a shot that Biden can win the White House, but it's going to be close. And frankly, it's going to be way closer than I think it should be. The selfishness of people voting for someone who literally doesn't care about you. I find it appalling that poor and working class individuals think that a billionaire gives two shits about them. He doesn't. He never has. He never will. He's incapable of caring about anyone or anything other than himself. It's just that's who he is. He is a pathological narcissist, a liar, a racist, a xenophobe. None of his policies work for anybody but the wealthy. The Republican Party at this point is more concerned about keeping you from voting. They've done more to stop you from voting than they have from stopping you from getting COVID. That's how it is. Mitch McConnell got reelected. Lindsey Graham got reelected, all because they are firmly up Trump's ass. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take in this country for us to make any changes. I don't know. I don't know. But it's stressful. It's It's worrisome. This is doing nothing for my mental health, you know. And I look at my son and I think, I brought you into this world, like, intentionally. And I love my son more than anything. But there's a small part of me that wonders, did I bring you into this hellscape so I could distract myself from things? Did I make the right call having a kid in this climate? And yeah, there's obviously, I'm hopeful that he's going to be one of the people that's going to help bring us out of this, but I have no idea about that. You know, I have no guarantees of that. And in the meantime, he's going to see the world that we live in, and when he gets older, he's going to ask me, you know, Daddy, why? Daddy, why? And I don't have an answer for him. I do not have a reasonable, logical answer. And the adage is, you can't reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. And that's the worst part of this all, is there's the support that man has. It's not based on any reason or logic. It's because it's based in hatred. It's based because he hates the same people that they hate. And you can spin it with the economic anxiety, this, that, and the other. That's it. That's what it comes down to. White people are still the overwhelming majority. And white people, historically, overwhelmingly, hashtag not all white people overwhelmingly will vote to continue the white supremacy, regardless of what's going on around them, as long as they get to be on top. They will be king of the dumpster fire as long as they're at the top. They don't care what else is going on. They don't care what impact it has on other people. They don't care about the minorities. They don't care about LGBTQ. They don't care about anything. White Christians. That's what it comes down to. It's about maintaining the white Christian supremacy. I don't give a fuck as long as white Christians stay on top. And I used to be a Republican. I thought at the time, you know, when I started politics back in 2000, 20 years ago, that the Republican Party and limited government, conservatism, etc., was the way to help people, because it has always been for me about helping people. But for me, it was of the mindset that the government that governs least governs best. And I thought that if we just get the regulations out of the way, that we can all help each other. And then everybody will lift everybody else up, and, you know, good things will happen, blah, 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 blah. And then I watched what happened. And I watched as more and more conservatism took root. I watched what happened in Kansas, which is like a conservative utopia. Economic policies, cultural policies, everything. And nobody was getting help except the rich and white Christians. And I was like, well, that's not very helpful. That's not what we should be doing at all. I mean, even when I was a staunch Republican, I was all for expanding voter rights and this and that, because I was of the mindset that, you know, democracy is the most important thing, and we need to make sure that as many people vote as possible so we can bring them all into this. And I was getting such side eyes from my fellow Republicans, and they were like, what are you doing? That's crazy. We can't. I was like, why? Why are you so afraid? I get it now. My eyes have been opened. I get it. Because they don't want the majority to vote. They don't want anybody to vote that isn't them. The mindset that was set in place back 231 years ago when this country started, wealthy white people in control. 231 years later, it's still the same shit. But we elected a black man for president. Yeah, that was nice. That it didn't do shit. I don't know. I'm still hopeful that the returns come in, but it's not going to be a mandate. There is no blue wave. Polling for this election was just dog shit. Polls led millions of Americans to believe that Democrats had a shot at taking back the Senate, that there was going to be this landslide for Biden and this and that. And the other. No. If Biden wins, it's going to be by the skin of his teeth. And the Republicans are still going to control the Senate. So the polls lied. Twice now. Polling is done. I'm not listening to Nate Silver ever again. The entire industry needs to really re-examine what their data points are and how they're interpreting it. I don't know what those solutions are. I've never been a statistics guy, but it's obvious that things aren't working. I don't know what the solution is. Talking to people. I've tried talking to people. I've tried asking them why they support him. And it's abortion and religion. And I can't reason with that because there's no reason involved. There's no logic. The CNJ, the polls didn't mean anything. I'm calling it 271, 267 Biden win, but another frustrating 4 years. I'm so anxious all the time that I actually miss depression. Yeah, it's and just like I said, I don't. It's all negative emotions. There's no positivity whatsoever. New Jersey voted to legalize cannabis. That's a positive for me. Because at this point, regardless of what happens over the next 4 years, I'm going to need something to take the edge off. We have to stay strong. Even if Biden wins, we still have to fight. The fight doesn't stop. The fight for improving mental health care doesn't stop. The fight for LGBTQ rights doesn't stop. The fight for clean energy doesn't stop. Nothing stops. It's just a question of how easy is the fight going to be. And with Biden, it's going to be a little easier. But the fight doesn't stop. The fight doesn't stop until we get it. So, listen, I'm an Italian from Jersey. I'm down for a scrap when it comes to it. So, if this is what I got to do, and I got to fight, I got to continue fighting. All right, fuck it, I'll fight. Bring it on, because I'm not backing down, and I hope none of you are either. So, let's just continue to watch the polls. Make sure every vote counts, regardless of who wins. Democracy and voting as an institution needs to survive. I'm not going to ramble on any further. That's all I'll say. Keep your heads up. I'm sure I'll touch base either later today or tomorrow. Keep the faith. Keep fighting.